Ladies and gentlemen, the road to success was never meant to be smooth. It was designed with valleys, thorns, storms, and shadows, so that only the persistent, the brave, and the faithful would walk it to the end. You are not defeated when you fall. You are defeated only when you choose not to rise. Every great achievement was first met with resistance. The universe tests your will not to destroy you, but to mold you. Every challenge you face is a silent question. Do you really want what you say you want? And your answer must be your action. You must keep going, no matter what. There will be days when everything seems lost, when the weight of your dreams feels heavier than your strength. That is not the time to quit. That is the time to prove your desire. The man who wins is the man who keeps showing up. The woman who rises is the one who keeps climbing, even when her legs shake. Every failure you endure is not the end. It is a lesson wrapped in difficulty. Every no you hear is not rejection. It is redirection. Every delay is not denial. It is preparation, but none of it matters if you stop. The world does not reward the quitter. It rewards the one who keeps striking, keeps walking, keeps building, even when there is no applause, even when there is no guarantee. You must decide now, right now, that no circumstance, no person, no failure will make you stop. You were given your dream for a reason, and that reason is to fulfill it, not when it's easy, but when it's hardest. The only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is your decision to persist. So when the voice of doubt whispers, when the path gets dark, when the doors close, don't wait for the light, be the fire, keep going, no matter what. You said, expand the first keynote to 1002, 100-word without mentioning any subheading and ending sentences. ChatGPT said, persistence is the foundation of all achievement. It is not talent, not genius, and not luck that determines the final outcome of one's dreams. It is the unwavering commitment to keep moving forward regardless of the odds. Persistence is not a momentary burst of energy, but a sustained, disciplined effort applied day after day, often in the face of difficulty, disappointment, and doubt. When a man or woman possesses persistence, there is very little in this world that can stop them from achieving what they truly desire. History is overflowing with examples of individuals who possessed far less in terms of resources, education, or connections, yet rose to staggering heights because they refused to quit. They met obstacles not as finalities, but as necessary friction required to shape their character and solidify their resolve. When doors slammed shut, they knocked again. When the lights went out, they kept walking forward in the dark, guided not by what they could see, but by what they believed. That belief, that inner knowing, is what fuels persistence. Without it, every small setback feels like a signal to stop, but with it, every setback is simply a setup for a greater comeback. A person may begin the journey of success with grand ambitions and dreams burning brightly in their mind. But soon reality shows up. Rejection, failure, criticism, and fatigue creep in like shadows. In these moments, the dream either grows stronger or begins to fade, and the deciding factor is persistence. The majority will turn back. They will say it wasn't meant to be, that they tried, that life is unfair. But a select few, those who truly understand the power of persistence, will keep going, not because it is easy, but because they are driven by something deeper than convenience. They are driven by purpose. Purpose is the anchor of persistence. When a person knows why they are doing what they are doing, when the reason is strong enough, they will find the strength to endure. The man who persists is not necessarily the one who enjoys the journey every day. In fact, most days will be full of resistance, but he walks anyway, he works anyway, he believes anyway, and over time this consistent action builds an unstoppable momentum. It is like water cutting through rock, not through force, but through repetition. The danger lies in believing that success comes quickly, or that those who have achieved greatness had it easy. That is an illusion. Those who win at the highest levels are those who failed more times than others even tried. They faced more rejection, more ridicule, more pain, but they never gave up. They learned to persist, to adapt, to adjust, and to keep showing up. While others sought comfort, they chased growth. While others doubted, they believed. While others waited for the right time, they made every time the right time. Persistence is the great equalizer. It allows the underdog to rise, the forgotten to be remembered, and the dreamer to become the doer. It doesn't ask for perfection, only that you refuse to quit, and therein lies the magic. Each time you choose to keep going when it would be easier to stop, you are building a mind that can withstand anything. You are building a life that will not be defined by circumstance, but by will. The path to success is not straight. It is full of detours, failures, and unexpected turns. You may plan everything perfectly, and still life will test you. It will try to shake you off course, to make you question your worth, your direction, and your dream, and this is where most give up. But those who persist understand that these tests are not there to stop them. They are there to prepare them. For every great achievement is preceded by trials, and every trial is a mirror asking one question: do you really want this? It is easy to be committed when things are going well. It is easy to work hard when rewards are immediate. But what defines a person's future is what they do when nothing is working. When the applause is gone, the support is gone, and all that remains is the work and the dream. Will you keep going then? Will you rise early and stay late when the results are slow and the recognition non-existent? That is persistence. That is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. To persist is to believe when the evidence tells you not to. It is to move forward when fear is loud and doubt is louder. It is to continue sowing seeds, even when the ground looks barren. Because, eventually, if you keep planting, keep watering, and keep believing, something will grow. Something always grows. The timing is never guaranteed, but the result is. If you do not stop, you cannot lose. If you refuse to quit, you will win, not immediately, but inevitably. Many start, few finish, not because they lack potential, but because they lack persistence. Potential is cheap. Everyone has it, but the ability to keep showing up, to keep learning, to keep pushing, that is rare. And that rarity is what gives persistence its power. It is not flashy, it is not loud, it is often boring, repetitive, and thankless, but it is the quiet force behind every breakthrough, every innovation, every legacy. When you understand this, you stop looking for shortcuts, you stop waiting for permission, you stop being seduced by comfort, and you start doing the work, day after day, step after step. Because you know that what you are building is not just a goal, but a version of yourself that cannot be broken, a self that is forged in discipline, in sacrifice, and in relentless pursuit. Persistence is not merely continuing, it is continuing with intensity. It is holding your vision when the world sees nothing. It is acting with courage when fear claws at your mind. It is getting up one more time than you fall, and in doing so, you grow stronger, not just in ability, but in identity. You become the person who does not stop. And once that becomes who you are, there is no mountain too high, no storm too strong, no delay too long. The foundation of all achievement is not brilliance. It is not charm, it is not convenience, it is persistence, quiet, steady, relentless persistence, the kind that builds empires behind closed doors, the kind that turns ordinary people into extraordinary forces, the kind that makes success not a matter of chance, but a matter of choice. You said, second ChatGPT said, expanded keynote 2 adversity is merely a stepping stone to greatness, 1002. 100 words, in the style of Napoleon Hill, no subheadings or ending sentences. Adversity is not the enemy. It is not the curse many believe it to be. It is, in fact, the greatest hidden blessing ever presented to man. Every struggle, every painful moment, every loss that feels unbearable is not sent to break you, but to prepare you. Adversity is the grindstone upon which all greatness is sharpened. Without it, the mind remains soft, the will untested, and the character underdeveloped. It is in the furnace of difficulty that the soul finds its shape. You do not become strong by avoiding pain. You become strong by facing it, enduring it, and rising from it. No man ever achieved anything worth remembering who did not pass through seasons of hardship. These moments define not only what we accomplish, but who we become. There is no progress without friction. There is no wisdom without wounds. Greatness has a cost, and adversity is the price of admission. But most do not see it that way. They see adversity as punishment. They take it personally, as though life has singled them out to suffer. They do not realize that every obstacle is an invitation to rise, to grow, to evolve into a higher version of themselves. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is how they interpret and respond to adversity. The man of weak spirit sees adversity and retreats. He believes his hardship is evidence that the goal is not for him. But the man of strong character sees adversity and leans in. He understands that this is the test, this is the proving ground. He does not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" He asks, "What is this here to teach me?" Because he knows that embedded in every difficulty is the seed of equal or greater benefit. That is not a slogan, it is a law. But the seed will not grow unless it is sought, unless the man is willing to dig into the difficulty and extract its lesson, its strength, and its wisdom. Think of any great individual whose name history remembers. You will find stories of loss, rejection, failure, and unimaginable difficulty. But what sets them apart is not that they avoided adversity. It is that they embraced it. They used it as fuel. They allowed it to chisel away their weakness and reveal their strength. What many call a curse, they recognized as a challenge, and when they overcame it, they emerged not only successful, but transformed. Adversity forces you to decide who you are. When the pressure is on and everything seems to be falling apart, there is no room for pretense. There is no mask to wear, no illusion to hide behind. You are forced to face yourself, the real you. And in that confrontation you have a choice. You can shrink or you can expand. You can surrender to fear or you can awaken courage. Those who achieve greatness choose to expand. They see adversity not as a wall, but as a mirror. And what they see in that mirror is not limitation, but latent power waiting to be activated. Nothing worth having comes without adversity. The mountain does not bend to the climber. The storm does not calm because you are tired. Life does not slow down because you are overwhelmed. You must rise to meet the challenge, and in rising, you elevate yourself. The very things you once feared become the instruments of your awakening. The situations that once felt impossible become the reasons you are now unstoppable. It is only through adversity that you learn how powerful you truly are. Most people pray for ease, they wish for comfort. But ease never created anything meaningful. Comfort never built legacies. The man who walks a smooth path learns little. But the man who struggles, who stumbles, who bleeds, he learns everything. He learns resilience. He learns patience. He learns vision. And above all, he learns that nothing external can determine his future unless he allows it. Adversity teaches self-reliance. It reveals the sacred truth that while you may not control the wind, you do control your sail. Adversity strips away the unnecessary. It takes what you thought you needed and shows you what truly matters. It burns away distractions and refines your focus. When things fall apart, when your plans collapse, and when all you are left with is your will, that is when clarity comes. That is when you realize that nothing outside of you can stop you, because the real force is within. The man who endures adversity without breaking discovers an indestructible confidence. He knows that whatever comes next, he has already walked through worse. He has already survived the fire, and he did not just survive, he grew stronger. This is why adversity must not be avoided. It must be welcomed, not with joy, perhaps, but with resolve, for every trial is temporary. Pain is temporary, but the strength it creates is permanent. Those who endure adversity without giving up develop a strength that cannot be taught in books or spoken in words. It is felt, it is earned, and it becomes a part of them forever. It becomes a quiet confidence that moves with them, guides them, and lifts them when the next challenge comes. People are often shocked at how much they can handle. That is because they have not yet faced themselves fully. They have not yet been placed in a situation where quitting is not an option. But when life gives you no way out but forward, you discover that you were far more capable than you ever believed. Adversity is the crucible in which false limits are destroyed. It is the doorway to your potential, but you must walk through it willingly, knowing that on the other side lies not only your dream, but your greatness. Even failure, in the hands of persistence and faith, becomes an ally. Every setback contains data. Every defeat holds within it the wisdom for victory, but it only reveals itself to the one who does not turn away. You must stay long enough to see what the difficulty is really trying to give you. It is trying to shape you. It is trying to build the foundation beneath your success so that when you arrive, you are not shaken. You are solid. You are ready. You cannot climb if you are unwilling to sweat. You cannot grow if you are unwilling to suffer. You cannot lead if you have not walked through fire. The leaders, the pioneers, the builders of great empires, they all shared one thing in common: they endured adversity. They walked through seasons where everything seemed lost, and yet they walked anyway. They were mocked. They were doubted. They were told it was impossible, but they kept going. And because they did, they discovered the hidden power that only adversity can reveal. So when life turns against you, when it knocks you down and dares you to rise, understand this: you are being forged. You are being refined. You are being called to rise into something far greater than you were. This is not the end. This is the beginning of your becoming, and one day, when others marvel at your strength, they will not see the pain, the struggle, or the nights you nearly broke, but you will remember. And you will know that the greatness they see was built step by step, on the stones of adversity. You said, third ChatGPT said, expanded keynote 3 definiteness of purpose turns obstacles into opportunities. 1,200 words in the style of Napoleon Hill, without subheadings or ending sentences. Definiteness of purpose is the cornerstone of all great achievement. It is the unshakable clarity of intention that directs thought, energy, and action toward a single, dominant aim. A man who knows precisely what he wants from life and refuses to accept anything less becomes a force of nature. He is no longer driven by moods, by circumstances, or by the opinions of others. He is driven by vision. And once that vision takes hold of the mind, no obstacle can remain permanent. What once looked like a barrier becomes a stepping stone. What once appeared as opposition becomes the raw material for growth. This is the power of definiteness of purpose. It does not remove the obstacles, but it transforms the man so he can overcome them. There is a great confusion among those who drift through life, waiting for direction, waiting for luck, waiting for signs. They hope success will come with time or through chance, but they fail to realize that life only responds to the one who makes a definite demand of it. The man who knows what he wants bends the world to his will. He sees opportunity where others see difficulty, and he sees solutions while others are frozen in fear. This is not the result of magic. It is the result of purpose. When your mind is anchored by a clear, unrelenting goal, every thought, decision, and action aligns itself toward that destination. A definite purpose gives meaning to every struggle. Without it, hardships feel unbearable, setbacks feel fatal, and effort feels wasted. But when you have a purpose so strong that it burns within your soul, no pain can stop you. Every hardship becomes a tool, every rejection becomes redirection, every failure becomes fuel. This is why so many give up. They lack a definite goal. They start with enthusiasm, but when resistance comes, they retreat. Their foundation is weak because their purpose is vague, but the man with a burning desire backed by unwavering faith can face any resistance and turn it into power. You must understand that purpose is not a wish. It is not a casual preference or a fleeting idea. It is a vow, a sacred decision made with your entire being. When you declare with absolute certainty, "This is what I will do," the world begins to shift. Resources begin to move, people begin to take notice, but most importantly, your own mind begins to transform. Doubt is replaced with determination. Fear is replaced with focus, and obstacles, no matter how large, begin to shrink in the face of your unwavering will. There is a story repeated in the life of every successful man or woman. It is the moment of decision, the moment when they stopped living by chance and started living by choice, when they stopped asking, "Can I?" and began saying, "I will." That moment of clarity becomes the spark that ignites everything. It is not about having every step planned. It is about knowing where you are going and being willing to do whatever it takes to get there. With definiteness of purpose, you do not need to know all the answers. You simply need to take the next step, and the next, and the next, until the path reveals itself. Obstacles are inevitable. They come in many forms: financial limitations, criticism, betrayal, fear, fatigue, and failure. But they are only obstacles to the man who has not made up his mind. To the man of purpose, they are opportunities, challenges that test and strengthen his resolve. When your desire is clear, your vision strong, and your mind locked in on your goal, every obstacle becomes a lesson, every delay becomes preparation, and every trial becomes a doorway to your next level of growth. You do not run from problems, you run toward them, because you understand they are not there to stop you. They are there to serve you. A wandering mind accomplishes nothing. A drifting soul creates nothing. Only the focused, the directed, the purposeful can rise above the noise of life and build something that endures. Definiteness of purpose is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It is what turns a vague ambition into a burning obsession. And once you are possessed by your purpose, no man can talk you out of it, no failure can scare you away from it, and no delay can cause you to doubt it. Your purpose becomes your compass, your power, your protector. Every great breakthrough in history was born from a definite purpose. The man who invented, the woman who led, the thinker who changed minds, they all started with one thing, a decision, a clear, specific, burning desire to create something, to do something, to become something. And they gave everything they had to it, not when it was easy, but especially when it was difficult, not when the applause was loud, but especially when the silence was deafening. That is what definiteness of purpose creates: endurance, direction, and inner strength. There will be moments when the path seems uncertain, when the results do not match the effort, when the delays feel endless. And this is when most begin to question their worth, their dream, and their direction. But the man of purpose does not crumble. He does not fold under pressure. He reminds himself why he started. He returns to that original decision and strengthens it daily with thought, word, and deed. Purpose is not something you declare once. It is something you recommit to every single day, especially on the hard days. Your environment may resist you. Your own mind may attempt to betray you. Others may laugh at your goals or tell you they are impossible. But none of that matters if your purpose is firm. Your job is not to convince others. Your job is not to wait for approval. Your job is to build your vision brick by brick, step by step, hour by hour. The world rewards the one who keeps going, not with half-hearted interest, but with absolute devotion to a cause, a mission, a purpose. You do not need a perfect plan. You do not need to be the smartest, the strongest, or the most connected. But you must be clear. You must know exactly what you want and refuse to accept anything less. That clarity will guide you when the path is dark. It will pull you forward when your energy is low. It will remind you that no effort is wasted when it is driven by purpose. Even your worst days serve you when they are aligned with your true mission. A definite purpose acts like a magnet. It pulls the right people, the right ideas, and the right opportunities into your life. But it also pushes away the unnecessary, the distracting, the harmful. It simplifies your decisions. It eliminates confusion. It gives your life order. And in a world full of noise, distractions, and shallow ambition, there is no greater weapon than clarity of purpose. It does not matter where you start. It matters where you decide to go, and that decision must be made with conviction. Once made, you must guard it. You must feed it. You must let no thought, no person, and no defeat steal it from you. Because that purpose, that single burning idea, will become the foundation upon which every success in your life is built. You said, fourth chat GPT said, expanded keynote for faith in oneself is the catalyst for unstoppable momentum. 1002 words, Napoleon Hill style, no subheadings or endings. Ladies and gentlemen, faith in oneself is the invisible force that moves mountains. the spark that ignites the engine of unstoppable momentum. It is the quiet conviction in your own abilities, your own worth, and your own potential that fuels action when everything else screams doubt. This faith is not blind optimism or wishful thinking. It is a deep-rooted certainty born of understanding and self-respect that no matter the challenges ahead, you have within you the power to prevail. Without faith in oneself, effort becomes aimless and falters at the first sign of resistance. When a man doubts his own ability, he surrenders the battlefield before the fight even begins. He lets fear, hesitation, and the opinions of others control his course. But the man who believes in himself walks forward with a steady pace. He understands that setbacks are temporary, that failure is a teacher, and that every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger. His faith is the unshakable foundation beneath every step he takes. Faith in oneself does not develop overnight. It is forged in the fires of experience, tempered by adversity, and polished through repeated acts of courage. Every time you take a step despite fear, every time you try again after failure, you are building that faith stronger. It is a muscle that grows with use and weakens with neglect. To nurture this faith, you must first silence the inner critic that tells you you are not enough, that you cannot succeed, that your dreams are impossible. That voice is the enemy of momentum. It is the thief of dreams. You must replace doubt with belief. You must replace fear with courage, and you do this not by ignoring your challenges, but by facing them head on with the assurance that you have what it takes. The man who believes in himself does not wait for permission, approval, or perfect conditions. He acts now, knowing that momentum is created through movement, not hesitation. Every small action taken in faith multiplies, creating a wave of progress that carries you forward. Faith is also the compass when the path is unclear. Life's journey is rarely smooth or predictable. You will face times when the destination seems distant and the way forward uncertain. Without faith, the temptation to quit is strong. But with faith in yourself, you trust the process. You trust that each step, no matter how difficult or confusing, is part of a greater plan. You move forward because you know that stopping is not an option, and that your belief in yourself will light the way. This faith transforms your mindset. It turns obstacles into challenges to be conquered rather than reasons to give up. It turns criticism into fuel rather than poison. It makes persistence possible because you are convinced that you are capable of overcoming any barrier. When you have faith in yourself, failure does not define you, it refines you. It becomes feedback rather than a verdict. You keep going not because you are fearless, but because you trust that your strength will outlast any fear. Unstoppable momentum comes when faith is combined with action. Faith alone is not enough if it is not followed by effort, but when faith and effort join forces, they become a powerful machine. Every action taken with confidence, no matter how small, builds momentum. This momentum creates results, and results build more faith. It is a cycle of growth that accelerates until nothing can stand in your way. The man who understands this does not wait for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. He creates momentum by starting now and trusting that faith will carry him through. Faith also influences those around you. When you believe in yourself, others begin to believe in you too. Your confidence becomes contagious. Doors that were once closed start to open because people sense your conviction. Opportunities arise because you act with certainty. Your faith is magnetic. It attracts the resources, the allies, and the circumstances that you need. It builds networks of support that propel you forward. In this way, faith in oneself is not just a personal strength, but a strategic advantage. Many are held back by a lack of faith, but no one is born without it. It is a quality that can be developed and strengthened. It begins with small victories, choosing to try, choosing to speak up, choosing to move forward despite fear. These choices accumulate and build a reservoir of self-trust. The more you prove to yourself that you are capable, the more your faith grows. And as your faith grows, so does your courage to take greater risks and pursue bigger dreams. Remember that faith is not arrogance. It is humility coupled with confidence. It is the recognition of your own potential while acknowledging the challenges ahead. It does not mean you believe you are better than others, but that you believe in your own ability to learn, adapt, and succeed. This balanced faith keeps you grounded but ambitious, cautious but bold, thoughtful but decisive. To cultivate this faith, you must guard your mind against negativity. The world is full of voices that will tell you why you cannot succeed, why your dreams are too big, or why your goals are impossible. These voices are distractions. They are attempts to keep you small. The man with faith in himself hears these voices but does not listen. Instead, he listens to the inner voice of conviction. He reminds himself daily of his strengths, his past successes, and his capacity to overcome. Faith in oneself creates a mental environment where possibilities flourish. It opens your mind to creative solutions and encourages perseverance. When you believe you can, you find ways to make it happen. When you doubt, you find excuses to quit. The difference between success and failure often lies in this simple truth. You do not have to be the smartest or the strongest. You only have to believe you can be. This belief will sustain you when the journey is hard and keep you moving forward when every external sign says stop. The great achievers of the world share this trait. They faced doubts, criticism, and failure, but their faith in themselves never wavered. It was the foundation of their success. Their faith fueled their efforts, and their efforts reinforced their faith. This cycle of confidence and action created unstoppable momentum that carried them beyond the reach of ordinary limits. Their stories teach us that faith is not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of certainty in the face of it. So, develop your faith daily. Strengthen it with positive thoughts, affirmations, and actions that build your confidence. Surround yourself with people who support your belief and distance yourself from those who drain it. Feed your mind with examples of perseverance and triumph, and most importantly, take action, even small steps, in the direction of your goals. Each step will build your faith, and your faith will build your momentum until you become unstoppable. You said, 5th ChatGPT said, expanded keynote 5, persistence transforms repeated failure into ultimate success. 1002 words, Napoleon Hill style, no subheadings or endings. Persistence is the secret ingredient that separates the successful from the unsuccessful, the champions from the quitters, the leaders from the followers. It is the quality that turns repeated failure into ultimate success. Many give up when faced with failure, believing that the road has ended, that their effort was in vain, that the dream was too big. But the persistent man understands that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a necessary part of it. Failure is the training ground where skill is honed, character is built, and victory is prepared. No one who has ever achieved greatness did so without encountering failure. The difference is that the great man refused to be defeated by failure. He used it as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. He saw each setback not as a permanent condition, but as a temporary detour on the road to success. This perspective is the foundation of persistence. It is the unyielding determination to keep moving forward, regardless of the number of times you fall. Persistence requires a mindset that is immune to discouragement. It requires faith that tomorrow will bring new opportunities and that today's failure will provide valuable lessons. When failure comes, as it inevitably will, the persistent man does not retreat into despair or self-pity. He studies the failure carefully, extracts its lesson, adjusts his strategy, and moves forward with renewed vigor. This process repeats until success is finally achieved. It is not a matter of if the persistent will succeed, but when. One of the greatest challenges to persistence is the human tendency to seek comfort and avoid pain. Failure brings discomfort, embarrassment, and sometimes even public humiliation. Most people naturally want to avoid these feelings and will do so at the cost of their dreams. But persistence requires embracing discomfort and pushing through it. The man who succeeds understands that pain and struggle are not signs to stop. They are signals that progress is being made. They are proof that you are testing your limits and expanding your capacity. Persistence also demands patience. Success rarely comes overnight. It is the result of consistent effort over time. Many give up just before the breakthrough because they expect immediate results or underestimate the time required. But the man who persists keeps faith in the process. He knows that every effort accumulates, every lesson learned adds to his skill, and every setback is preparing him for a greater victory. He understands that success is a marathon, not a sprint. It is important to realize that persistence is not stubbornness. Stubbornness is refusing to change course when it is necessary. Persistence is adapting while never abandoning the goal. The persistent man is flexible in his methods, but firm in his purpose. He is willing to try new strategies, seek help, and learn from mistakes, but he will never let temporary failure cause him to quit. This balance between flexibility and resolve is what creates unstoppable progress. History is filled with examples of men who failed many times before achieving success. Thomas Edison, who famously said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10 ways that won't work," embodied the spirit of persistence. His repeated experiments and failures were not signs of defeat, but steps toward the invention of the electric light bulb. This attitude, treating failure as a necessary part of discovery, allows the persistent man to keep going long after others have given up. Persistence is also a test of your desire. When your desire is weak, failure will easily discourage you. But when your desire is strong and deeply rooted in your soul, no failure can extinguish it. It becomes a fire that burns brighter in the face of opposition. This is why definiteness of purpose and persistence go hand in hand. A man with a clear goal and burning desire will not be deterred by setbacks. He will rise each time he falls until his persistence becomes an unstoppable force. In moments of doubt, when failure seems overwhelming, remember that the greatest successes often come just after the greatest difficulties. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is often simply the willingness to persist a little longer. The persistent man understands that giving up is the only true failure. As long as he keeps going, he is moving closer to his goal. Every step forward, no matter how small, chips away at the mountain of obstacles before him. Persistence also builds character. It teaches discipline, resilience, and patience. It creates a mindset that refuses to be broken. The man who persists develops a mental toughness that not only carries him through his current struggles, but prepares him for future challenges. This character becomes a part of him, a foundation that no setback can shake. Persistence is not just a habit, it is a way of life. In practical terms, persistence means showing up every day, doing the work, even when you don't feel like it. It means continuing to believe in your vision when others have lost faith. It means pushing forward through rejection, criticism, and doubt. It means holding on to your goal with relentless determination and never letting go. This steadfastness turns dreams into reality and ideas into achievements. Finally, persistence creates momentum. The more you persist, the easier it becomes to keep going. The initial resistance fades and progress accelerates. Your confidence grows, your skills improve, and opportunities begin to appear. Persistence unlocks the door to success by keeping you in the game long enough to win. The man who understands this does not fear failure. He welcomes it as a necessary part of the journey, a proving ground for his spirit. Persistence transforms ordinary men into legends. It is the difference between those who talk about their dreams and those who live them. It is the difference between quitting and winning. Remember this truth: success belongs to the man who persists, who refuses to quit, who keeps going no matter what. This quality is within you now. It is your choice to use it, to cultivate it, and to let it carry you to the heights you desire.